There was a time where carrying gaming laptops used to be challenged. They were portable, but not portable enough to be carried in a backpack, like backpack of this size. They were extremely heavy. This is now 2025 and gaming laptops are portable. And it's extremely important for content creators like us who are always on the go. We need to edit on the go, but also in our downtime, game a little. This is the Acer Predator Helios 18 AI, and you saw it first at the Cornea impression. To make this easier, we're going to break down this video into 5 different sections. We'll start with the design, then we'll talk about the hardware, then we'll talk about the AI, then we'll talk about the usage, the overall usage scenario, and finally the conclusion. Right now, let's start with the design. The Acer Predator Helios 18 AI, yes, it's a long name, but just for the purpose of this video, we're going to call it the Predator or Helios 18. So forgive me if I don't say the whole name. The first time when I unboxed this and I got this out to play around with it, I was very impressed with the design. They've used 2 different materials here. On the top, there's this metal finish, which is aluminum, and the bottom plate is plastic. It's a good combination to keep it light as well as sturdy enough for the construction. It's a good choice of materials that they've used, keeping it strong enough at the same time keeping it light enough. And hence you also have this one-handed hinge or a very sturdy hinge which can still be opened just by using one hand, which is nice because this literally speaks about the premium construction of this laptop. So before we even head into the inside, let's talk about what's happening on the outside. Right where the hinge sits is a nice plastic finish here, transparent one with RGB lights on the inside which light up, which quite honestly looks really cool. And if that was not enough, is this number here, 18, which is for 18 inches, but quite honestly, this is very close to what you have in sports cars, like very selective sports cars. So yeah, like racing stripes, this number sort of talks about it that way. On the inside, where the bottom plate or where the keyboard sits is plastic. Despite that, there's hardly any flex to the keyboard, which is again great. And the trackpad here is nice and huge. I can hardly cover it with my palm here. So it's nice and big and it feels nice and premium. It's extremely smooth and it comes in handy, especially when you're out editing or when you're also gaming. You don't really game without a mouse, but yeah, if you do have to, it's usable, but it comes in extremely handy when you're editing videos or just to navigate on this huge screen. And then are the vents. Well, like on a sports car, you have intake ducts and you have exhaust and there are diffusers. This sort of gives a feeling as well. This right here are your exhaust ports on both sides and intake ports at the bottom, and then again exhaust ports at the back. So it's a quad exhaust in this case. I mean, it's funny. All of this design is not just for the laptop to look really good, but there's a lot happening on the inside with respect to the hardware. And that's powerful. That's some really powerful specs that we have inside this. And all of that while keeping this laptop light. This is 3.5 kilograms. I mean, if you go 2 years back, the lightest gaming laptop that I experienced or I used was about 5.5 kgs. 2 years before that, it was 8.5 kilograms. And we are already at 3.5 with the specs on this. That itself is a testament to the evolution of technology that we have right now. And why not? Smaller, better, more powerful. Let's head to the studio to discuss the hardware. It's still much cooler indoors. Since we're talking about the internals, let's discuss what is powering this mega computer. This 160-degree hinge is really handy, especially when you're trying to show your work around to people who are monitoring your work, or just for you when you don't want to sit, you want to stand up and do your work. That's gonna come in handy. It's got 700 nits of brightness, which is decent enough for indoors as well as outdoors. And if you're watching HDR content, it's 1000 nits of brightness on this magnificent screen. This is 18-inch screen, by the way. It's LCD with IPS technology, because of which it's got 120 Hz of refresh rate. And the best part is it is VESA certified. So you have 100% color accuracy on this. So if you're going to be using this for editing videos, I think it's a brilliant screen, not just to game on, but also for edit your videos. And it comes in handy for people like us who are outdoors or on the go. Let's talk about what's powering this machine, and let me just quickly breeze through it. This has an Intel Ultra 9 processor, which is the 275HX processor with 24 cores. And if you thought that was crazy, it's got 192 gigs of DDR5 RAM. I thought I read it wrong, so I fact-checked it. I checked their website, I checked the document that they shared with me. 192 gigs of RAM. I mean, I come from an age from the time of computers, where my hard drive was 256 GB. That was the top spec. My RAM was 128 MB. Coming to now, present, where we had 192 gigs of RAM. On this portable machine, it's just crazy. And if that's not enough, you have an amazing GPU on this as well. It is powered by the NVIDIA RTX 5090 GPU with 24 gigs of dedicated VRAM. We also have 6 speakers on this, because of which it's easier to monitor audio. The 6 speakers that this has will give you proper crisp audio, because of which you'll have an understanding of how your video or your final output is going to look like, which is neat. There's also a dedicated camera here on the top, which is a 1080p camera, which is decent enough to get your video calls done. The bezels at the side are also extremely thin. The one at the top, because of the camera placement, is slightly broader. One at the bottom, yes, there is a significant larger chin, but is much smaller than the older ones or on a lot of other laptops that I've seen. It's nice and sturdy. There's no flex, which is important, especially if you're going to be carrying it around. With respect to the connection ports, on the left side of the laptop, you have a full-size RJ45 port, which is self-collapsing, so it does save a significant amount of space when not in use. There's also a USB Type-A port, which is a 3.2 Gen 1 port. There is also a full-size SD card port, so in case you're outdoors shooting videos, you can just plug out the card from your camera, plug it into the laptop, and start editing. There is also a 3.5mm two-way port, so you want to listen or you want to make video calls using a dedicated wired mic, you can do that. On the right-hand side, you have 2 USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 2 ports, which is nice. There is also a Kensington lock at the side, where on the back there are 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports and 1 full-size HDMI port, which supports 8K of video output. And then there's the charging port, which is a proprietary port from Acer. So you'll have to use their dedicated charger or their in-house charger to charge yourself. I kept the keyboard for the end. And the reason why I did that is not just because of how nice it looks with the RGB lights, it's customizable. So the keyboard is customizable here. There's also this nice indentation here with embedded lights on the inside. So you have the RGB lights under the keyboard. You also have lights here. And then there is a light bar which extends from the front to the left of the laptop, because of which when you're indoors, when you're sitting on your desk, it does light up your desk really well. But the keyboard I kept for the end is because there are 2 types of keys. There are membrane keys and there are mechanical keys. Acer has done a good job of fusing these both type of keys together, or having a combination of these keys, is because you will invariably type something on the laptop. You're not just going to be gaming. So for gaming purposes, the WASD and the arrow keys are mechanical keys, which can be swapped out to these keys here, which are included in the box. And the other keys, which you will mostly use for typing, are membrane keys. So they have decent amount of travel. They don't have as much travel as compared to the mechanical keys, but for typing, you don't need that. You need a much more relaxed feel, and that's a great thing. And then when you're gaming, you have the mechanical keys, which can be swapped out and customized. So that's really neat. We did use this as a primary device for editing some of our videos, and we were editing 4K videos while we were on the go, and it handled it quite well. We were able to scrub through the timeline while we were running full 4K footage really easily. We were able to color grade the images, or we were able to color grade the video footage also quite well thanks to the display. We were able to render it all thanks to the CPU and the GPU here on the Helios 18. Moving on to the next section, let's talk about AI. This is, after all, an Acer Predator Helios 18 AI. So yes, this does have AI. This does come with a dedicated Microsoft Copilot option and a baked-in key as well on the keyboard. So occasionally when you want to create an image, you can. When you want to quickly have a conversation with Microsoft Copilot and understand if they can generate probably a color grade for you, which is what AIs can do this right now. You can do that. And if you want to quickly have a small presentation or maybe a show floor, yes, you can take help of Microsoft Copilot and get that done for you. So it's still 13 tops of AI integration that it has. It's not as high as the Acer Aspire that we saw, but that is a proper work computer. This is a gaming computer. And you getting access, or us consumers or gamers getting access to AI on the go, I think that's a very good combination to have. It's for gaming as well. And we ran through some AAA titles on this, and man, forget about the hardware on this, but the screen has been beautiful. We enjoyed the games on this. So we did try Doom, we tried Call of Duty, and we tried Forza. And because of the RTX, the 5090 GPU on this, the colors, the graphics were just so neat, all while maintaining a stable temperature of around 40 degrees or sometimes spiking up to 45 degrees. But otherwise, it didn't throttle. We had gaming sessions for about 2 or 3 hours in a continuous. That's on the go, and it handled it quite well. So it's a good combination of a workhorse and something that is as a fun device that you can have while you're on the go. Speaking about on the go, let's head outdoors and then we'll conclude this video. And now we are at the part of the video where I should tell you if it's worth spending your money on the Acer Predator Helios 18 AI. Yeah, it is worth $14,999. So it starts at that price point and it goes up depending on the kind of different specs that you choose on it. But if you ask me, as my honest opinion, if this is a laptop that you should go for, if you're a gamer or a content creator and you are interested in taking this around. Yeah, if you are a gamer, yes, definitely, because for a laptop this size, which weighs about 3.5 kg, you have some really good hardware packed into this form factor. At the same time, it's maintaining its weight, so it's easy to put it in your bag. You do have a sizable charger that you have to carry around, which in itself weighs 1.5 kg. It's got great hardware, it's got great design, it's got AI, and at the same time, it's light enough. So in my opinion, it is worth your money. And if you are interested in this laptop, we are going to be mentioning the links in the description where you can go and purchase this laptop of Acer or their retailers directly. This is Aurelius signing off from the Cornea Impression, and this was our review of the Acer Predator Helios 18 AI. Stay tuned for more.